TK, what's the deal, man? We're here having a good time at the fundraiser, and you're dropping elbows on the older guys. What the hell's your story? What are you doing?
You know me, Mike. I'm just here to win.
Yeah, I know you're here to win. I mean, don't take it to that level at the fundraiser. You got some guys here that can't skate. What are you trying to do here?
Bottom line, I'm just trying to get on Ratcast.
Hi to Dougie Coors there.
Hey, Dougie Coors.
Dougie, I can't sit down. This
what a
is
crowd.
exciting for me.
Crazy atmosphere here. Broadcasting from Studio B today. We're bringing some terrific playoff action. I'm joined by the Commissioner Flynn. Flynn, where are you? And here we are. It is the 2024-25 edition of the Ratcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Gardner alongside of Anthony Flynn. And, boy, Flynn, it's good to be back here with the Ratcast.
Oh, it's great to have you back, Dave. We've always enjoyed our time together, and it's great to see you sign back on for the season this year. And I think everybody out there is going to get a little piece of our nostalgic Ratcast, the days we had years ago, and bring them back, and with the modern technology and stuff we have today, I think we're really looking forward to seeing some of the things that we can do.
Yeah, we started doing the Ratcast, I think, back in 2006, 2007, and then took it league-wide in, 08 or something like that. And we were working with, Xbox Live cameras and, handheld microphones, and just the technology was so different back then. And we were lucky to be able to do what we did with it. But now, the technology now with, here, what we're doing today, and, being able to broadcast remotely and do play-by-play for games remotely and have guests on and call-ins. It's really fun. You kind of wish we had this back in the day, like what we could have done with that back in the day.
Well, and now we'll be able to find out for sure. I think it's going to be great, and it gives us a vessel now to let people interact even more than they did. And you remember how people used to interact back in the day. It was great. And I think now we have, 4 or 5, 10,000 more ways for people to do that, from people sending in videos, and everyone's got a cell phone. I think we talked about this the other day. Everybody literally has a cell phone that they can interact with in one way or the other, with videos or phone calls or messages and things like that. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be great.
Yep, it's going to be fun. All righty. So what are some of the things we're going to be doing here on the Ratcast video show?
Well, I think, we had talked about this. This isn't really just going to be the place. We don't need to sit and read the scores for everybody every week and recap the standings and things. I mean, people can go to the website for that. I think what we're looking to do is a little bit more storytellers, right? We can kind of meet people around the league. So when you, the viewer, can watch, you can get a little understanding of, hey, who's that team on the other side of the country? And who's that player I see at the top of the scoring list? Or we start throwing some videos around, and people could see some of the other action. Because to everyone else, it's just a score. They look on the website and they say, oh, the Colorado, this team beat the Iowa, that team. And, that's just a number. But when you can start putting faces to names and things like that, I think it really kind of brings the league together, makes people want to interact a little bit more. When you get to the finals and you see the other player, you already have a little information about them, or you've heard a personal story about their team. I think it just, that's one of the things we did back in the day that I really thought made the leagues so great, and as great as the league is now. And I truly think it is, is competitive and almost in a lot of ways better than it was years ago, but it was missing this aspect. And now that we can kind of bring this back into it, I think it'll really, make it, A+ stuff.
Yeah. Back then it was a podcast. It was more audio than video, because video was still not ready yet for the internet and home computers, and now with the rise of YouTube and Twitch and all these other platforms, even cell phones. Now you can take a video with a cell phone and it's high enough quality to play on the computer here and watch it. So, yeah, I mean, again, I kind of wish we had this technology back in the day, the things we could have done with it, but now we do have it. So now we do have this technology, and again, getting the faces on here, seeing the faces, telling the stories, and I think that'll really kind of be a good enhancement to the media part of the league.
Sounds great. Yeah, no, I agree. And the buffering at times, and when we would go to Sportsplex, and you'd have to worry about, we have to make sure we get a landline, and a specific cable, and that was the troubles when we did do some video, and of course everything else was audio and blog talk radio and the things we did. But now we've got this, it's as simple as, hey, we can have somebody join in on the conversation on their phone.
Right.
And we encourage people to do that. We definitely want as many people to participate as possible. So, in the coming weeks, we will start offering up ways to contact to contact Dave, contact the Ratcast, and say, hey, I have a story I want to get on, or as I travel through the league and meet people, I will pull people aside and say, hey, we need to get you on Ratcast. We need Dave to get him, to get into that head and see what's going on with this particular team. And what kind of cheese fries do you have at your rink?
Cheese fries are very important. Very important. So why don't we get into, let's wrap up last season first. So let's kind of wrap up 23-24 and talk about some of the things there. Because I know I was part of the playoffs toward the end there. Not the finals, but some of the semis there. And boy, we had some pretty good hockey being played, let me tell you.
We always do at the finals, and last year we were in Colorado again, much like we will be again this year. And you bring that up, and here I have the coveted 3 playoff banners that these teams are hungry to get. Trust me, at least 2 of them message me on the regular for these things. And after today, they're gonna get out there and they're gonna go. I'm gonna be shipping this white one off here over to NERC soon for the Deuces, and I'm sure I'll get the Pandas one off to them when I see them at their first event. But yeah, so we, as everyone knows, we have 3 divisions in the Professional Land Hockey Association: the pro, semi-pro, and the minor. And last year was the first time we crowned a minor league champion nationally, and not just regionally. And in that one, the Trash Pandas beat the Suffolk Sting in 2 unbelievably great games. This one was an absolute thriller with a game-winning goal inside the last 7 seconds, I think.
Oh, wow.
It was really a great moment, and the Pandas were such a great deserving winner, because those guys, they did a ton with social media. They always had their stuff in order. Great bunch of guys and personalities on that team, so was happy to see them win. In the semi-pro, the Philadelphia Deuces, who unfortunately aren't back this season, but they have been a team that has been right there, right on the cusp of winning for a couple seasons in a row, and they just seemed like they were always that team that just couldn't get there. And last year they put all the pieces together. They got all their horses together in Colorado, and they put together a great weekend, and they won. And then the Sting last year, and the Sting have been the perennial champions in the league, but the year before, they had lost to the Denver Demon Dogs in maybe the most epic, thrilling 7-game series the league's ever seen. And then they came back with an absolute vengeance, with a chip on their shoulder, and they swept the Dogs last year out in Colorado, and reclaimed their throne as the top of the pro league champion, top of the pro league. So that's what happened last year. And this year we're excited. We're going to have more teams than ever. The pro league on the East Coast is growing a little bit. The minor league definitely grew. We lost a couple teams in semi-pro because we lost a couple of them going up to pro. We lost 1 or 2 that we allowed to drop down. But it's certainly still going to be exceptionally competitive. And I think the semi-pro, being that middle division, always had that maybe these teams are a little too good, maybe these teams aren't good enough, and they kind of got pushed where they needed to be. And I think the competition level in the semi-pro is going to be even greater, because I think the margin between the top teams and the bottom teams is going to shrink. So I think it's going to be even more competitive.
Well, when did it go to the 3 divisions? Because back in the day, it was pro and minor. When did we get the semi-pro? How long has that been going on?
Well, PIHA always called it semi-pro. That was one of the terms that the players used, minor. Well, maybe it was minor way, way back in the day. But for the last 10, 15 years in PIHA, it's been semi-pro, and they call it minor. Much like a lot of people will call it PIHA when it's actually PIHA. But, you call it whatever you like. But that's one of those things. So the minor got introduced a couple of years ago. We had some teams that were just kind of getting, thumped on the regular. In the semi-pro, and we just realized that there was a market for another division. The semi-pro division was getting larger and larger and larger, and we were trying to find ways to get some of those teams back into the pro division, but the pro has really kind of shrunk down and gotten more and more competitive with elite players, which meant the pool of players that they were pulling from was a lot less. And everyone was kind of funneling to the semi-pro, and then there was some semi-pro teams that just couldn't compete. So we created the minor division, and it's really worked out great for everybody.
Oh, good. Why don't we talk about the breakdown of the divisions and the teams so far that we have for 24-25, so we can see where we stand?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hop right into that. We've got our division alignment, we'll call this. So this is East Coast stuff. The West Coast is still kind of piecing this stuff together, Dave. But we'll run through it pretty quick. We could talk about some of the new teams, some of the team movement and things like this. And we'll start. These are our 5 divisions right now. Although we may be splitting up that Rocky Mountain division into 2. There's some talk. We can actually discuss that a little bit with one of our guests later. As he'll know a little bit more about that. But we could start right in the Metropolitan Division. This is a renamed division, by the way. As people would realize, in the past, we've called this the Northeast Division. But now, as the league is growing a little bit, we're starting to kind of regionalize areas, and that's just kind of more internal. Like we're calling the area up here the Northeast region, so we renamed this the Metropolitan Division. And that's just being the Northeast region is what Anthony Flynn is running, and the Southeast region is this, and this area is where CJ Yoder is running, so stuff like that. But so in the Northeast area, we've got the 3 divisions this year: Metropolitan.
Flynn, check your mic. Somebody said that they can't hear you. I'll check it on the StreamYard.
All right. Let's see if this is any better. When we were having some pre-show stuff, I kind of turned it down. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. All right.
No, I got the broadcast on. I'm not hearing you.
Not hearing me at all? How about now? Turn it way up.
Are you muted on the StreamYard by chance?
No.
Oh wait, I think I can hear you now.
All right, good. All right, so we are. I'm going to turn myself down now in my ears. Okay, so Metropolitan Division, Semi-Pro Division. These are our teams here. All of these teams are returning teams. The Empire Snipers, Suffolk Sting, Long Island Blazers, Champion Impact, and the 5th team in this division is the East Coast Rebellion. They were a pro team last year. They've come down. They had a rough season in the pro division last year, so they'll be dropping here into the Metropolitan Division. And I believe they're kind of a mixture of their pro team from last year and last year's Misfits team. As we move on, the Atlantic Division in Semi-Pro is made up of 4 teams this year. The Empire State Legends, the Revolt Lightning. This is a new team, Dave. I believe this is out of the remnants of the New Jersey Grizzlies. Saw a lot of old names on that roster that I'm excited to see again, like Robbie Fulton and Chris Wolf.
I still have a Grizzlies jersey from back in the day. Just saying.
Now this is the Trash Pandas. We'll talk to some players from the Trash Pandas a little bit. That is last year's champion, as I had mentioned. They'll be moving up to semi-pro this year. Excited to see what they're going to do in that division, because it was really like a 2-horse race last year in the minor division between the Pandas and the Sting, and both of those teams pretty much have moved those players up to the semi-pro. So we'll see there. And we've got a new team. This is the New York Lebeda Whip. This is we're going to call this an Elder Statesman team. This is Vinny Comito and crew. A lot of the 45, 50 and over Team USA guys on this team. So we're excited to see what those guys do. Keystone Division. This is a very competitive division. We got 4 returning teams. Pottstown Iron Knights, who had an incredible run last year, almost took out the Gladiators in the division final. Out here, the Blizzard, the Fusion Blizzard, they came back for their second year, but last year was their first year, and while they didn't go 18-2, they were a tough win for any of the top teams in the league. They beat the Deuces, for example, during the course of the season. So I'm excited to see how they come back this year. Gladiators were the 2-time champions, got dethroned last year out in Colorado, and now the final team. Propel MG, always a tough young team. These guys had some issues with the playoffs last year. Had they were able to make the playoff run last year, they could have made it out to Colorado for sure. And then we have a new team, which is the Philadelphia Barons. They're kind of, I'm going to say, in that placeholder that was the Deuces. A lot of the same region. Might see some of the same faces. We'll see what happens there. So that's the way the East Coast is going to look. We get to the Southeast Division Pro. We've got 4 brand new teams down here. We're going to talk to Ryan McDonald a little bit here in the episode to talk about the creation of this division. But these are the 4 teams: the Citrus Kings, the Atlanta Phantoms, Broadway Blades, and the Raleigh Mops. So we'll talk a little bit more when we have him on there. As we hit down to the minor division, lots of expansion here, Dave, between a couple teams down, and just it really has popped off. Like, this is now the 4th year of this division, but last year going to the finals, the competitive nature of it, we're seeing a major bump here. So in the Metropolitan Division, we have 2 Empire State Legends team. So we have a platinum and a gold team. This new team called the Mustache. The Suffolk Sting are back with a new team, and the Champion Impact. So that's the Metropolitan Division. As we hop over to the Atlantic Division, we have 2 Trash Pandas teams now. We have Trash Pandas and the Purple Pandas. We have Phil Townson coming up here in just a minute. Maybe he could chat a little bit about that. And then we have a 3rd Empire State Legends team. This is called the Empire State Black. Another new team called the New Jersey Jagaloons. We don't know much about them, but we're excited to look and find out a little bit about them. And then we have the Jokers. These guys pretty much are the remnants of last year's Flamingos team. So I will call them new. I think most of it will recognize most of those players. Finishing up the Northeast area, all of these teams are back. The Shockwave, the Scream, champions 2 years ago, Gladiators, the Pottstown Iron Knights, and then the Inline 309 Stingrays were a semi-pro team who've moved down into the minor division this year. So, and again, as we hit that Southeast, we'll talk a little bit more. Same organizations, plus we have one additional Asheville Aces minor league team in that division. So that rounds up the way the divisions are going to look out here on the East Coast this year, Dave. And I'm excited. We talked about a couple of new teams. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks we'll get to know them a little bit. Maybe we can reach out to them and get them on the show, find out a little bit about their program, and see if they have good cheese fries.
Right. So looks pretty good for this year. Absolutely. All right. Now you said we have some guests coming on here.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to start up. We'll talk a little bit about our last year's minor league champions. I got to know them a lot last year. This is a really good group of guys, and out in the finals last year, got to spend a little bit of time with these guys. So our first guest here of the year, the new year, from the Champion Trash Pandas is none other than Phil Townson. Hey, Phil, how are you, buddy?
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Oh, good to see you.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, well, Phil.
You guys hear me?
Oh, we can hear you good. Yeah, it looks like you're outside enjoying the weather. It's really been great. Not sure what it's been up there in Boston, Dave, but the weather down here has been absolutely fantastic. So
Finally, yeah, after a summer of heat, well, 90 degrees, it was tough. We actually canceled some roller hockey games up here because it was so hot. It was that bad.
Yeah, well, Phil,
the perks of working remote.
Yeah, man. So Phil, we'll fill Dave in a little bit last year on what, you obviously last year the team was brand new and you guys kind of got it started and you had an incredible year, took it the whole way, got to the top of the mountain. Tell us a little bit about that run last year, and then we'll kind of transition and ask a little bit about, what's in store for the Pandas this year.
Well, last year, based on my knowledge from my conversation with Eric, we were kind of underdogs. Nobody really had faith in us. People told us we may get like 2 wins, but we came out. We did what we wanted to do. We went to finals. Colorado was always the goal, and at the end of the day, we won. And you remember that Sunday? It was a good day.
It was a good day. He's referencing that after the championship, I think we had a couple cervezas or whatever we were drinking, and then we had a couple more and a couple more. But that was definitely a fun day.
Just a couple.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was the ride like as kind of being a new team and the whole bit? I mean, tell us about the season.
Well, for me, this is probably my, I don't know, I want to say 19th time doing this with various teams, but a lot of the guys are new to the league, and these guys do a lot of travel roller hockey. They play Narch, Wish Cup, State Wars, they do it all. But they were looking more for a league on the weekends, and luckily, it's all local for most of us. I mean, the biggest ride is either Skate Safe from Marple, which is 90 minutes away, so it's not that bad. But other than that, the boys just every weekend go out and grind and battle, and then the results are proof.
Nice. So what are you looking forward to this year?
Well, what got me back to playing again this year was I heard Colorado was the finals destination. Is that true?
That is true.
So,
yeah, that is true. There was, and I'm glad. I'm actually glad you brought this up, Phil, because there was a big push from a lot of the guys in the East Coast to want to come back east, because it's been a couple of years in Colorado, but the league had pressed back at me after kind of initially agreeing to it. They kind of pushed back and said, "Hey, next year, not this current season, the following season will be the 25th anniversary of the league," and they wanted to be on the East Coast that year to try to bring in some of the originals, around and have a celebration that year. And so that's the plan. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Colorado's the goal, and now we're just going to try and put our footprint on the semi-pro division. Again, people are talking about us not doing well, and we're just going to go out there and hopefully put the results out there.
So, you guys have any large pickups? Are we coming back with the same team? What are the Pandas going to look like this year?
As of now, I was made aware we have two pretty big pickups. Justin Skelly from the Propel team from last year, and Nick DeSalvo.
Those
He
are pretty
also
big
played
names.
for Propel last year.
Yeah, those are some pretty big names there.
I think Skelly put up like 40 goals last year. So that's going to be huge in that division. We need that.
Do you think after winning the championship, it was a little easier to convince guys to come back and play this year?
Well, from what I understand, Dave, they had to convince Phil to come back. Is that true?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Flynner.
That's why I'm here.
No, the guys were always coming back. It was just kind of looking to add more pieces because, this is going to be a tougher battle this year. And Skelly and DeSalvo are household names with the Pandas on Monday night at, what's it called, Great American Center now. So it wasn't that hard to get them to transfer over.
Well, what aside from winning the championship, what moment from last season sticks out the most to you?
I want to say that first match where we got smacked by the Gladiators. I think that was a real test to the team, and then from there on out, we made it our mission to never let that happen again.
So do you think that kind of turned the team around and got them focused?
Oh yeah, ever since that matchup, it was just never ever let that happen again. All the boys are dialed in.
What was interesting too, Dave, was that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not looking at this, but I thought I remember in the round robin for the minor out there, you guys kind of got worked by the Sting pretty good in the seeding section.
Yeah.
They
did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. I just remember that was so, and then it was an unbelievable 2-game series like that I had said before came down to a final shot that just caught the Sting goalie by surprise with 5-6 seconds to go, and then they won the championship.
Yeah, those kids are good. I mean, they got a couple guys now I heard playing Team USA juniors over in Italy. I mean, those kids are only going to get better and better. I mean, they're all aged from like 16 to 19, I'm sure. Yeah, they did beat us up in the semis. I didn't think they really smacked us like the Gladiators did. I'll never forget that game. With the Sting, it was always close games. Either way, they could have won one. We won, obviously, but I mean, I think we were evenly matched.
All right. And so going into this season, I mean, how do you top last season?
Repeat, right? The goal is to repeat, right? And unfortunately, we got a tough task. I believe you guys spoke about the teams in our division, the New York Lebeda Whips. Basically, all the guys from our home rink, we all play against each other. We all know each other's styles. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a battle. A lot of battles in the boards and wax and stuff. And then we got that ISCA team or Morristown team with ISCA guys. That's going to be a tough one too. A lot of the old guys, you said Robbie and Chris Wolf are playing. So that's going to be good. And that Legends team, they beat us in Narch bad. So we want revenge on them. So
yeah, and I'll tell you, I know that team. That team didn't get their way back at the finals after losing in overtime of the semifinals the year before to get to the final. They had lost to the Snipers in overtime, and then they weren't able to get their way back to Colorado. And you can see what it's like. If you don't get back there this year, and I'm not saying that you will or you won't, that hunger only grows even more because you had a taste and you want you want a little bit more. So. Well, Dave, we got any more questions here?
No. I'm interested to see how they're going to do this year, if they have the championship hangover or if they're going to be hungry for more. We'll have to keep an eye on the team.
Well, we appreciate it, Phil. Thanks.
Without a doubt.
We appreciate you giving us some time here today and representing the team, and say hi to my buddy Gizzy for me. And we look forward to seeing you guys kick it off on October 5th, I believe. You guys are in Long Island on October 5th when you kick off the season.
Unfortunately, I'm not there that weekend, but I'm sure the boys will do well.
Well, all good. I'm sure the bees will have a bad day either way. we'll have to tell that story sometime.
It's a bad day to be a beer.
All right, guys. Phil Townson from the Champion Trash Pandas. Dave, that's where we'll start out. Phil, our first guest of the year. He certainly a great time. And a clear leader of that team, being one of the elder statesmen, still considerably younger than you and I, but that's why they're playing, and that's why we're right here, right?
That's why we're talking. They're skating.
Indeed. All right. Well, our next guest, and this was an area I didn't dive in too much when we were talking about the division layout. Is from the southeast area that kind of grew this year, and before we bring him in, I could just kind of tell a little backstory here. That last year we had a gentleman reach out to us and said, "Hey, I want to put a team in," and when we have these pockets around the country where you get a team from middle of nowhere, it says, "Hey, I want to put a team in," and we look and we say, "Well, how is that going to be possible?" Because your closest team is 12 hours away. So we had said, hey, well, why don't you start a draft? If you got a lot of interest, start a draft, start a division. And that's how, the Dixie division last year, went. And it was, we'll call it a success. They played their season games. They had some issues with rinks and stuff like that. And they sent a team to the finals, and they were competitive. But what it did was it really popped off the area. And then all of a sudden, during the whole course of the year, we just started getting submissions that, hey, we want to put a team in, we want to put a team in. And then our next guest was the guy that really kind of just took the bull by the horns and he really ran with it. And, he's the guy that, we can say is, making the pancake mix down there. That's really putting the pieces together.
Pancakes are good.
That's our favorite analogy. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But our next guest is Ryan McDonald. He is from the Atlanta Phantoms. He runs the Atlanta Phantoms. Will play for the Atlanta Phantoms down in the Southeast Division. So let's bring him on and meet him and see what he's all about. Ryan, thanks for jumping in with us, buddy.
Hey, how's it going, Flynner?
All right, man. I look like that shirt from last year's finals, Dave.
I like it.
Showdown in the Springs.
So,
Nice
yeah, for sure. So, Ryan, I was telling the story here. I'm sure you were listening in the green room back there, but we we're just telling the story about how last year the division, came to be, and then this year, it has taken a more traditional turn where now teams are going to be putting themselves together, and you guys, you will have a division of 4 in the semi-pro and a division of 5, and Dave, we've been meeting for weeks and weeks on this. We had almost for a good month or so, we had a regular Sunday night meeting where we were having, talks to put everything together, and the crew down in this area has just been such a pleasure to work with. And like I said, Ryan was the catalyst down there. He's the guy that kind of sparked everything, and after playing last year, and I'm sure the league, owes him a
pancake. A pancake. They owe him a pancake.
Yeah, the McGriddles over here. But yeah, I first want to say congrats to the Trash Pandas. I was personally there, and I saw that. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong end of one of those victories, but glad to be there. Sorry, this give me some feedback. But can you guys hear me pretty well?
Yeah, you can.
All right, awesome. But yeah, so basically, I played in the Dixie division last year, and it was more of a traditional draft league. And so we did that, and then kind of looked more towards having like a traditional travel setup, because guys kind of felt like they wanted to travel around. And I know it kind of started with Nashville. I had interest from Dylan Grizel, and they have a really nice rink out there. And it kind of spread from that. Kind of started at tours. I talked to Dan Dean, and he's down in Asheville, and he kind of didn't have a rink, but he kind of wanted to play in a league. So I know we have a pretty good facility here in Atlanta, a 2-rink facility. So we basically kind of sparked some interest there. And next thing you know, I talked to Flynner and Mr. Yoder, and here we are.
Yeah, we're excited.
So was your phone like ringing off the hook down there when you were setting this up? Were you real busy doing this, or did it kind of fall into place for you?
I mean, honestly, it was kind of natural. I mean, a lot of the guys that I was working with that were building this league with me, I definitely am not alone. I don't want to take all the credit. I got Gannon McWard from Raleigh, the Mops. They're a really successful program down here. He basically works at this rink, XL Sports World in Raleigh. So it's kind of like a natural fit, honestly. And to be honest, it's not much different than building a travel team or a tournament schedule. Okay. It's just a little bit more spread out. And you kind of need to get more of a deep commitment from players, and you kind of need to look more ahead and plan to go to finals in March, et cetera.
Now, how many teams do we have in the Southeast Division, Flynner, and what are their locations? Just get an idea where they're located.
Sure. So, and this is a testament to the season they're about to undertake. So the teams that have a 3-hour drive in the Northeast, can get an appreciation for what some of these guys are going to do. So Ryan is located in Georgia, in Atlanta suburbs, and they'll be playing out of SGAA down there. And there is a group that he talked about, the Mops. They were all the way up in Raleigh in North Carolina. And then we have a group that started a program called the Broadway Bullies out of Nashville in the Henderson
Blades.
The Blades. What did I say?
Bullies. They might be bullies. Who knows?
It could be. You're right. No, the Blades. My bad. I'm sorry. And I guess that's living in Philadelphia all those years. Broadway Bullies. I keep calling your team the Falcons instead of the Phantoms, just because I think that the F comes out, and then and then I say Falcons. And then the last group is out of Jacksonville. This is the Citrus Kings. Anybody who's done a lot of travel hockey has definitely run into a Citrus Kings team. So we're excited to have them. They don't have a rink in Jacksonville that's indoor, but they'll be doing probably even the bulk of the travel this year, more than even everybody else. And then Ryan had mentioned that there is a 5th team in the minor division out of Asheville, and that's the Asheville Aces. That's Dan Dean. His brother played on the champion Trash Pandas.
Asheville is where now? Asheville?
That is in the western portion of North Carolina.
Okay.
in the mountains.
So we have a possibility of 5 teams on there this year.
Five teams in the minor and 4 in the semi-pro. So it's it's a great start. It really is. And Ryan, he'll tell you, Mr. Yoder, when he tells you, ever since we even announced this, we've started getting submissions. We've got a bunch of submissions in Florida. So we're hoping that those continue to come, and then maybe even next year have an expansion kind of down in that area, and then now the 2 regions can even play each other maybe next year. So
Sometimes
as that continues
as
to
it
grow,
goes, if you can get the base, if you can get started and get that first year under your belt, and people see how fun that is, then you can add more teams and maybe have less travel going on because you'll have more teams in more areas there. But I can only imagine with the teams spread out as they are, how does this affect the schedule, Flynn and Ryan?
Whew. That's why it was so important for us to kind of have, these meetings and talk, and especially having the interest from the Jacksonville team. Like you said, they don't have a rink, so they're kind of always a road team, right? That's why this PIHA kind of works, because we're able to play in each rink.
Yeah, so they're kind of adopting the Northeast philosophy where they're doing festival style. We've been doing that now in the Northeast for at least a good 6-7 years now, where it's just everyone goes to one location and they play. Colorado out in that region, they're still playing the traditional 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. But here it's just going to be imperative for them. Everything's just going to be pretty much festival style. They're doing 4 weekends instead of 5. When they go to Nashville on opening weekend, October 5th and 6th, they're playing 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. At the end of the year, when they come to Atlanta, they'll play 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. So, and then they'll have two events during the course of the year where they just play, a traditional 1 day, 4-game set. So they'll get their 20 games like everybody else.
Okay. Now, Flynn, have you thought about putting a team in the Southeast Division? Because I heard you do real well against Ryan's teams.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think.
We shouldn't bring that up. We should have his friend Owen come in. Right? 0-2.
Yeah, they were both tough losses. I think the first one was, we traveled all day and we got to Tampa, and then we see these guys and we look and we see how old they are, and we're like,
excuses here, Dave.
Guys,
I know,
not a
right?
problem. Long story short, I think it was 6'4", something like that.
I don't know. I wasn't gonna let it go without throwing a little your way. But Ryan, tell us about your team this year. Now, we talked a lot about your role in the expansion and things like that. But now we're the pancakes are on the griddle, and it's almost time to eat them, buddy. So
we have to flip them over and serve them.
That's right. So we've done all the hard work, all the conference calls, the schedules are done, the rinks are set up. Now we're just collecting RHAs and getting ready to put teams on the floor. So now, take your league hat off and put your Phantoms GM hat on. Tell us a little bit about what you expect from the Phantoms.
I'm hoping to be the next Trash Pandas, expansion team, kind of run through, like the old, not the Ratcast, the old Panthers, Van Briesbroek that year. But, we basically have a team that I kind of have, honestly, a Dixie Division All-Star team for my minor team. I have pretty much who I felt like we didn't even have a tryout for my Phantoms team because I already kind of knew all these players, and I kind of knew who I wanted to be on our team. So I pretty much got the best players from the original Dixie Division last year and kind of made that my minor team. And then I kind of took some of the best players from that and then kind of made the core of my semi-pro team. So you always start with goalie. I got literally one of my best friends. You guys might know him, Anthony Safransky. I think he had a 1.47 goals against average last year for us.
Wow.
He's actually living in Pittsburgh, and he's going to be traveling down and playing for us because the schedule allows that. He only needs to come down here once a month. So.
Well, and you see, Dave, what having that little taste, of the competition, and obviously guys that got to the finals, and you see you want to take that next step. I just wish everybody could get there so they could all have that hunger to see what an incredible job that Mr. Yoder and CJ and that whole group there at the Xfinity Arena does for the finals. And Brian, I know you saw that firsthand, being your first time in the league, but they really do an incredible job. And,
you get there. We get there a few hours early. Every team that gets to play in finals gets an open practice the day of or the day before finals. They got like a whole different setup for us. Honestly, it's a really nice rink. We play on steel mat floor with IDS pucks. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but it is literally the best way to play roller hockey right now. High scoring games, fast paced games, a lot of control. We're looking forward to it. That's why I'm looking forward to playing our opening weekend in Nashville, because we're going to be playing on the same floor we'll be playing at in finals. So we'll be playing on that steel mat floor with the IDS puck. So it'll be a straight sample.
Yeah, that puck. I have that here at Marple too, and boy, the puck really does. That IDS puck absolutely flies on the steel mat. So,
I'm looking at the stats here. Yeah, Anthony Safransky, Georgia Rebels, 10-2 with a 1.4.
Oh, he's one of those guys where he grew up playing for the Inferno. He literally just got pelted by East Coast boys his whole life. So he's a great goalie.
Dave, you get some Inferno swag, I think, from back in the day.
I have an Inferno shirt somewhere. Yes, I do. I wear it on special occasions.
He brought the heat down south, and then I got my captain for my minor team will be Steve Mitchell. He kind of runs a rink rat energy program down here, and then I got another guy, Jacob Heisey, who used to play for one of the rink rat impact teams, I think, a couple years ago. He's on that minor team as well, but other than me, I think from the Dix division, our second leading scorer was Garrett Hawksby. He will be returning. He'll be on our semi-pro team. He's a great young player. Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, Ryan, I got to say, Dave, taking a look at Ryan's hair really makes me think that I have a future replacement for you.
You might. My hair was that long about 20 years ago.
I remember when it used to be. That was
need
great.
One of those pennants.
Well, send him one. Have one made up and send it to him. I'm sure Dave will happily put it right there. So
I will. I'll put
Dave, and I'm telling everybody, Dave, he can be bought. Dave loves to talk about teams that send him swag.
No, and I'll never forget. He's the guy that you said my name wrong after I scored that goal against the Trash Pandas. But your famous line, my dad always says to me, "The patience pays off."
It does. It does. We do our best. You should try working with Flynner sometime, Ryan. Let me tell you.
Yeah, once a week.
He does. We don't burn any pancakes.
Hey, so when does the season start for you guys?
So we have, like you said, October 5th and 6th. We start in Nashville. So we'll have 6 games for each teams there. And then we'll come back and play a one-day jamboree in October 26th, 4 games. So then we'll have 10 games done within the first month. So that kind of gets our feet moving. And that's when the roster lock is in place, et cetera. And then we kind of get the ball rolling for the next half of the season.
Yeah, the 5th and 6th, I'm looking at the schedule now. It's going to be a busy weekend for the Southeast Division, that's for sure. So, yeah. And that's not that far away.
No, it's not. And Dave, there's another name I'm going to throw at you that's going to be key to this region. So last year we inducted longtime referee Chris Roche into the Hall of Fame. Chris was, he's been our Northeast ref guy for seems like forever. And he retired from the NYPD last May and announced to us that he was moving to South Carolina. Well, honestly, if you were to look at a map and draw, pins between all of these teams, I think Chris moved dead into the middle of all of them.
Oh, really?
So just when he thought he was out, he got pulled right back in. So Chris is going to be crucial for us down there, and he's excited about that because he was sad to be leaving the PIHA. But
Ryan, that's really important. That's really important because us as players and team owners, etc., we can't be involved in that referee or that other aspect. So Chris brings in experience from PIHA finals and all those years in the East Coast and kind of makes our league official right from the get-go.
That's right. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for coming in, spending some time with us, and looking forward to kind of getting back on those calls, seeing you guys finally drop the puck, because there's been a lot of work by a lot of people to get this division off and running. And, I think it's going to be competitive, too. I really think, knowing some of those teams, any of the teams across the league shouldn't look past these guys at all. So, I think
there's going to be a lot of parity and, cheers, Flynner, on to the next pancake.
Yes, sir.
Right.
All right. Well, that's Ryan McDonald from the almost did it again, Atlanta Phantoms. So thank you so much for coming in with us there. And Dave, that's Ryan. Ryan is he's a good time. He's a good guy, and he's really been awesome in helping us get that division up and
It
running.
looks like
So
he's like super focused on what's going on down there.
he is. So our last guest today really needs no introduction for the PIHA, but this is the first time we'll introduce him. I don't think he's ever been on Ratcast.
I don't think he has. He might have been on Dougie's show, which was kind of like the minor division of the Ratcast.
But with no introduction needed, the PIHA League president, he could tell us a little bit about what's going on the West Coast. CJ Yoder.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Good to see you.
Good to see
Oh,
you.
it looks like you're up there at the bar at the rink.
I am. You know who I am. A couple guys in the office there, so I had to sneak away. But I'm okay to be in here, that's for sure.
All good. So, I ran through everything that's going around with the East Coast, but we figured, before we do a full run through, we'd talk to CJ. We'd never had him on the show. Talk a little bit about what's going on out there on the West Coast. We know there's some rumbles of some expansion out there also, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definite expansion, just like the entire league. And we're very excited for this year, not just nationally, but also out here. So, we're going to go from 4 pro teams to 7 this year. And then it looks like 8 or 9 semi-pro and then double our minor division too with 9 there. So possibly 10 after a call this morning already. So in the middle of that schedule, Flynner, you know how that goes with doing it out east there. And so I'm in the middle of all that, but very excited. We think everybody's ramped up a little bit. Each and every year it's harder to be like, hey, we got to distribute a little bit, have 5 teams here in the Colorado area with the number of guys we have talent-wise. We don't want to spread too thin, and guys are like, well, we got to compete with the East Coast. So, and that goes all the way down from pro to semi-pro to minor, even minor teams got to kind of keep an eye on because they want to compete. They want to play against those guys in that last weekend. So, but we're very excited out here.
When we're talking West Coast division area, how far west are we going? Is it central to Colorado, or do we go east, west, north, south from there?
Yeah, south from there, actually east from there with this year with the group that we had jump in and how things are working. So we're basically Rocky Mountains mostly, but there's a pro and a semi-pro coming from Phoenix, Arizona this year to join us. The Des Moines guys are joining us in semi-pro and minor, so we kind of go in the central states a little bit, and then just to get a team to jump in the league, and it worked out best that they play in the West here. There's actually a team from Naples, Florida, that's going to play a pro team that's going to be in our division just for logistic purposes. So that'll bring a little bit of buzz here in our division, and along with the Arizona guys also, and obviously both those teams we know are going to be very good. So so the compete level will definitely go up out here for sure.
Okay. Well, and there's even a little buzz out here in the East Coast because when that Naples team contacted us, CJ and we had talked about, hey, where are we going to put these guys? And ultimately we put them out there. But we did schedule them a weekend here to play the East Coast teams. And I know the East Coast teams, I was already getting messages like, wow, is this really happening? This is going to be great. They were all excited to see another name on their schedule. So, that team traveling like they're going to travel, is definitely going to, they're going to have the benefit of seeing the entire league. But, we're excited to see them jump in with everybody. And the pro, again, I think we're up to 13 teams this year, which is a major jump for the pro division this year.
Yeah, people want to compete. I like that. We had a tough time with that for a couple of years, but I think guys are coming around. Some young kids are, getting thrown in the mix, and guys want to play at the highest level they can. So that's really good to see.
Is there any talk about maybe getting some of the California teams into the league? Is there been any rumblings or any discussions with that? Because I know that there were a lot of teams over there in the past, especially in the minor division.
I think each and every year we talk to a couple of people, and a good friend of mine, Dan Maxwell, runs a little league out there that has run really well the last 2-3 years, and we would love to get them involved. And Dan and I have spoke numerous times. A guy I'm sure has been on here before, Ethan Chavera, gave me a call about possibly putting in a team or two this year. Didn't work out. I just think
there's a lot of logistics to it. It's not as easy as some people think. I think to just to play in a league all year long and plan on that travel and things of that nature. So obviously we would love to get them involved as a league. We want to make sure it's the right guy, and those two guys would obviously be the right guys. If we can get ahead of it, but we don't want to expand somewhere and it not go well and people have a bad taste in their mouth. So I think Flynner does a really good job out there. My father makes phone calls all over and gets back to people when they reach out to us. Not that we're feeling them out, not that we don't want everybody involved. We do, but we just don't want to get to an area and it be a bad situation and we lose that area for a couple of years because there's a bad taste in people's mouth. But each and every year we definitely are talking to somebody out west, whether it's in the San Jose area or obviously Southern California.
Yeah, because if it's working in the Southeast, this is their second season starting down there, and Ryan's done a great job down there working with Flynner on that. So, maybe we need to find a guy like Ryan out there and out west that can kind of handle the heavy lifting out there.
Well, that really is the key, Dave. And we didn't really dive into the pro side of the East Coast. I was planning on kind of saving that entire thing for next week, because we have some news there too. We have a Michigan team playing this year. We got a couple teams playing up, and I was going to dive a little bit more into this Naples Chaos team, but finding that guy is really the key, and it's just a ton of work at the beginning, and then once it grows, it snowballs, and then all of a sudden you have 12 hands, and everybody's kind of going the same way, and then when one person walks out and you're, having a baby or whatever reasons guys have for stopping to play, there's other people, and that's the perfect example of that is what happened down in the Dixie division last year. Somebody took the ball, ran with it, and then all of a sudden, it just kind of pops off, and the important thing is too, like, all of that is coming back to the central station. You know what I mean? Like, it's all going to Charlie, and then Charlie's coming to CJ and he brings me in when he needs to. But you also can't expand everywhere all at the same time. So you kind of got to pick your battles and say, okay, well, CJ's working with, Phoenix, and then he's got Iowa coming in, and then what's he going to do here? Now we got this Naples group. You can't, we're also running rinks and have families and things. So, I think it's a smart play to say, hey, start organizing yourself. We'll get back to you next year. And then, that's how all the expansion has happened, and I think, right now out in the East, we have a Michigan team that's playing in pro this year, and we're starting to get messages like, hey, I could put a team together. We had a group in Chicago. We could put a team together. Maybe that's the focus next year. Maybe we're looking at Florida. Maybe CJ is looking at Southern California. Maybe there's another team in Arizona. Who knows? But, we just can't go the entire country all at once because we're not built for that. We're not built for that.
I mean, playing is fun and maybe even organizing a team. But, CJ, you could probably attest to it's different. Playing, organizing a team, and then organizing a division. Huge. It's got to be 3 separate jobs.
And that's 100%. They're all different hats, and you got to put them on almost daily, each one of them, the playing one, I wish I did it daily. I don't anymore, but I still try to as much as possible. But yeah, and I also think just having those little pockets, like you said, like just getting Arizona involved, even if it's only 2 teams now it gets out there, they go back and are like, hey, this is a really good thing. Let's start a division here. Detroit out East, I would think same thing next year. We're like Flynner said, we're already got people reaching out, but like they go back and they're like, hey, this was really good. Let's see if we can get a division here. So it is difficult to, nobody's on the payroll, to be honest. You know what I mean? So we all kind of do this because we love it, and we want to see the sport grow. And there's just so many tremendous people within the sport that are willing to help out and jump in. It's been really good, and obviously we want to expand. We just can't do it all at once, like Flynner said.
Mm-hmm.
So the important question, CJ, is you're up there at the bar. Do they have cheese fries on the menu up there at that restaurant?
We will in the finals.
Yeah, yes, there you go, Dave.
Wait. I thought that was a done deal. I thought the cheese fries were a done deal.
We're gonna give a quick look at the bar there. I'm sure you can give a quick little.
See.
Well, we'll definitely make sure that there's some cheese fries up there for you, Dave.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We can get that done.
So let's talk about the Thunder. Now we switch hats a little bit this year. What's going to go on with the Colorado Springs Thunder this year?
Well, we just finished our tryouts on Sunday. Actually, all of our emails went out. announcing, releasing all of our rosters and whatnot, we had over 80 guys come to tryouts this year. Over 3 different days, we ran 3 hours each night, kind of split up minor and semi-pro in one and pro and kind of invite skate in another one. Over 80 guys. We grew as an organization from 1 pro and 2 semi-pro and 2 minor to 1 pro, 2 semi-pro, and 4 minor this year. So around, obviously the arena here is beautiful. Our rec leagues are doing well. The talent, the caliber has gotten better here. And people just want to do a little bit more. So as an organization, we've grown and we're excited at all of our levels. Our pro team, we've got a couple young guys that we didn't realize were going to stick around and not play ice hockey anymore that have jumped in, that are some really good players that bring some youth to us old guys. The core of us will still be here. So we're very excited. And then we had one of our teams disbanded out here, the Blizzard that played last year, only going to have semi-pro. So those guys kind of scattered a little bit, and we picked up a couple of them that are really going to help. So as our pro team, we're very excited. Our 2 semi-pro teams, again, same thing. Our organization's just like everybody else. Like, we want to compete with that East if we can get there. We want to try and compete that weekend. So both of those teams look better. And then obviously our 4 minor teams, we wouldn't have taken 4 if there's not guys that shouldn't be playing at a little higher level than a rec, and those guys all should, and they're passionate about it. And I'm a big believer in, those are the guys that support us the most. Our pro guys come in, play their games, and want a free beer afterwards and want to leave. These guys come and volunteer their time on our big screen and run around doing some stuff at between game break for my dad so that the kids are playing between games and it looks professional, and they're volunteering their time to go out into the community and things like that. So we try to keep everybody involved as much as possible within the organization, without putting them in a bad situation that they're not going to have a good time. So as an organization, we're very excited. And like I said, all that just came out yesterday. So everybody's excited. We'll start our first practices this week, and we'll see what happens this year.
Well, I think the last thing we could talk about, Dave, is going to be the finals. So the finals are going to be back in Colorado again. Here, I can throw that up on the screen. I believe we're going to be back in Colorado on March 28th to the 30th at the Xfinity Sports Center, where CJ is right here at this very moment. So I think we're kind of excited about that. Tell us a little bit about the arena, about what makes that place special. I know the answer, but you've worked there for years, and it really is an incredible place. And we've had the finals there 2 years in a row now. It'll be our 3rd year in a row. And I think we saw that when we talked to Ryan. I think we saw that when we talked to you heard it right out of Phil Townson's mouth, like he was going to retire, but when he heard it was back in Colorado, he was excited and he wanted to sign back up again. So tell us a little bit about Xfinity.
Yeah, obviously, we're blessed here. I believe it's one of, if not the premier, strictly inline hockey facility in the country. And I know there's a lot of great ones out there. And obviously, Flynner, I came from your place and I'm very passionate about that place also. But we have 252 stadium seats with cup holders. We have a mezzanine, which is in one of those pictures there where the cameras are set up, along with a suite there that during our Thunder home games, people rent out. And I've got, a waitress or waiter that takes care of them and runs beers and whatnot over to them. It's their own little, suite area that we can use. Obviously, I'm sitting in a restaurant bar. We also have a snack bar downstairs that we do beer and wine out of, and some food and whatnot. A glorified snack bar, but we can do a little bit cheese fries. We can do a little bit more than just a regular snack bar. Still brand new, still matte floor. It's only been here for a year and a half, I think. Air conditioning, which we don't need in February or March, but everything's AC'd here. We have four locker rooms, and actually at our finals, we kind of clear. We have a pro locker room that we have here, and then we clear out another area on the other side. So we have a place for our 2 pro teams that they can leave their stuff, and we can make it an event for them too. So at the finals, I think, and I appreciate all the kind words, and there's so many people that help out and volunteer their time to make all of that work. It's not Charlie Yoder and CJ Yoder, that's for sure.
Well, it is, but to his point, when you go there, there is a team And then there's a team behind the team. Like there's a team of girlfriends and moms and wives and stuff that are just making sure that the team is taken care of. You know, I sit there and you talk about that hallway that we were showing, up here, up along the back here, where you see those cameras and stuff, and there's these party rooms and stuff back there that are constantly being, shuttled in with food. There's like a rotation of food that's coming here to make sure that the cameraman and it's CJ and myself and Joe Oria and the referees and everybody is, taken care of. I mean, they're donating their time and they're getting, and that's what I know a lot of people say, oh, it needs to come out east. But they have such a machine set up in place for this, and the arena. I mean, the alternative is my place, and I love my place. You know what I mean? And it would do a great job. But that place is so set up perfectly for the finals, and I can't say enough about it, and I think that's why we saw Phil Townson say, "Boy, it's Colorado. I got to go back." And Ryan McDonald looked at it and said, "Wow, man, I want to get my team and get my team back there." When you talk to the legends, and they were disappointed that they didn't get back out there after being there 2 years ago. It's the best event I've seen. And it's easier because it's not you go to a Tours or a Narch or State Wars, and those are 10, 12, 15-day long events. This is a 3-day event, and, Charlie has it scripted from the first drop of the puck all the way to the very end. And there's kids running everywhere, because they're following the script. And, it's really an incredible event.
Yeah, it is. That's what I was going to say. The biggest part about being out here is that our thumbs are on it. You know what I mean? Like I have friends that own restaurants that volunteer their time to run some pasta dishes over, or I know a guy that owns a pizza place and he'll bring in pizza for the pro guys after the games, and just our hands are on it here. It's really nice to be able to have our finger on it and it be right in the backyard, and I can schedule how I want. I run the place, so when like Ryan said, I'll cut our leagues down on a Thursday night so that the guys coming in can skate Thursday night, because we want it to be an event. And yeah, obviously Timmy and Darren and Ronnie and those guys, they know what they're doing and they do a great job, but we can focus on just these 3 days, just the certain amount of teams. And we would love to show this to everybody, but we also don't want to expand it to 6 days or 7 days. And let's make it special for the guys that are here. And then they can go back and say to everybody else, like, that was pretty awesome.
And we've done a great job the last couple of years too of showing that. Roller Planet has really helped with that. And Dave, you've been a part of some of those broadcasts, and this year hopefully we get you out here and you can work with them, and we get you as many cheese fries as you want or whatever else we need to bribe you with. But it truly is just a great event, and and it's also just in such a beautiful place. I mean, we talk about Colorado, and it's a great place to visit too if you haven't been there. I mean, it truly is just a if you haven't been there, or even if you have, it's so easy to go back there, because it's so beautiful, and there's plenty to do when you're out. I showed that picture earlier, with I was hanging out with the Trash Panda guys after. It was, I think I still have that here somewhere, with this beautiful outdoor bar that almost all the teams went to that day after the finals were over, and everyone just really just enjoyed the area. So it was great.
We are very lucky. I blame it on my wife all the time. I'm like, nah, I want to move back east, but she doesn't want to. That's not really the case. Like I love it. I still call it home back there, but I don't know that I would ever leave. We are very blessed here for sure.
All right. Well, CJ, it was great to have you on the Ratcast finally after all these years, and you certainly won't be a stranger. We'll have to have you back on a bunch, as the season progresses and we get our updates from out there, and I'm sure we could pull Joe in and some others, but it'd be great, and I'm sure we'll chat and we can kind of preview the West Coast as you kind of put the final pieces together out there, and we'll give the West Coast side its due on the show in the coming weeks. And good luck to everybody out there.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, guys. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all that you guys do. Tremendous job.
All right. Thank you. Good to talk to you.
All right. CJ Yoder, league president, and head of the West Coast out there. And boy, you see how many hats he has? I mean, gee, man, 4 minus, that's a division.
Yeah.
That guy's a busy guy. That guy is definitely a busy guy. So Dave, I think we're almost there. We almost got through the first show.
That was fun. Got a chance to talk to some people. Got a chance to look at the teams and talk about some things here. And we still got a few more weeks. It looks like for the season starts. So we got a couple more weeks of prepping and organizing here and the whole bit. But I'm interested to talk to some people here. I liked having Ryan on. I like to talk to him about what he was doing in the Southeast. I'd love to have somebody on from the Michigan team.
Yep, but that's definitely in the works. Yeah, definitely. Again, I saved the pro. The pro is its own monster out here. On the East Coast this year, and to a certain extent, as you heard, CJ. They got that team from Naples coming in, and that they're kind of going to both divisions. So definitely plan on having Mike Farinelli on from Detroit. He's been another Ryan McDonald for us. He's been that guy that was kind of out in left field, but said, hey, I'm willing to take the ball and run with it. They're doing a bunch of traveling to make it happen this year, and we're hoping there also that we can kind of expand and use that as a pop-off place, to kind of spark interest around the league. Like I said, I can't say it enough. We would love to be coast to coast, and have all no gaps. You don't want to be that Verizon map with the little coverage missing or anything like that. But you can't get there immediately, and you also don't want to go in places that are going to fail. So we want to make sure that it's going to work. And I remember back in the day and some of the AIHL stuff that we did, we had that particular region was always like we just didn't have the right people, but there were teams that wanted to play, but there was no leader, and it just kept failing. But now we're finding the right leaders, and I think I don't want to disparage anybody, but I just felt like the generation under CJ and I, it took some time to find the leaders, and now they're stepping up and they're finding their way, because that was the generation that played roller hockey from 4, 5, 6 years old. Yeah. And we didn't. We were playing street hockey, and then all of a sudden rinks opened up when we were in our teenage years, and so we knew we had to do the work. The kids that got to play the whole time, like everybody was organizing for them. It took them a little longer to realize, like, hey, now you're not a kid. No one's giving you free equipment anymore, and if you want to play and keep playing, someone's got to step up and do the work. And we're starting to finally get that. So, we're definitely excited about that. So, Dave, let's kind of wrap this up. We certainly want to let everybody know that there's lots of places to check out information on the league as we talk about our show not every Wednesday, but most Wednesdays we're planning on going off 12 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. The show does stream on YouTube. We also have it sent out, I think, to a couple other places on social media that you'll find it. But the best place to find it really is at our YouTube channel at the PIHA. That's where the show officially streams to. So yeah, you can check us out there weekly when we aren't scheduling, when we aren't going off then, because Dave does have some other announcing conflicts and stuff. We'll certainly let everybody know about that. We'll get that out there to everybody. And that's it.
It fun. It's kind of getting going from the preseason and then working into the regular season. I think it's going to be a nice segue to kind of set this up and follow the league and get some information out here.
Remind everybody, at www.thepiha.com. That's where you can find all the latest information on the league. I also want to mention that last year we created this Smug Mug account. You go on the website. We got a couple of contributors that have been throwing photos in there, and if you have photos, contact us. We'd love to get them on there. But that's really it. I mean, we. Glad we got off and running with Ratcast episode 1, and looking forward to doing it again next week.
Yep, it's going to be a good time. I'm making a ton of notes here for some upcoming episodes, so it should be fun.
All right. Well, on behalf of Dave Gardner and myself, Anthony Flynn, we appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Thanks to our guests, Phil, Ryan, and CJ, for coming on this week. And we will work out the audio problems. I know a lot of you guys have been commenting that you liked it better when Flynn's mic was muted. We do need to hear him at least from time to time, but we will work on some of the echoing and some of the mics and all that stuff for next week.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll see everyone next week.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?